Even though this dish has the word yuck in the name, it's actually yum. I'm talking about Yakhni Pulao, a delicious one-pot meal made by cooking mutton or goat meat in a pressure cooker to make a flavorful mutton stock, which is then used to cook the rice and the mutton again to make this beautiful one-pot meat and rice dish. Horns up and welcome to Headbanger's Kitchen. This is Meat India, my series where I showcase the best meat and seafood dishes this country has to offer, one state at a time. Also including the Union Territories, because today we're still in the Union Territory of Kashmir and we're making a flavorful dish called Yakhni Pulao. This is generally part of the Wazwan, which is a Kashmiri feast, and this is an amazing one-pot meat and rice dish. Anyway, enough jibber jabber, let's get cooking. To make this pulao, I'm using goat meat or mutton as it's called in India. And I'm using meat from the shoulder with bones and a little bit of fat. You can also use lamb for this recipe or even chicken, pork or beef. Just use a nice slow cooking cut. For the rice, I'm using 2 cups of long grain basmati rice. I washed that under running water a few times and then just let it soak for about 30 to 40 minutes. Now for our mutton stock, we're making a potli or a parcel using cheesecloth or muslin cloth. To that I add 1 roughly chopped onion, 10 grams of ginger, 15 grams of garlic, a cinnamon stick, 4 cloves, 3 green cardamoms, 2 black cardamoms, 1 teaspoon of black peppercorns and 1 tablespoon of fennel seeds. And now I just wrap the cloth around it and then tie the ends of the cloth to make a pouch or the potli as we call it. To cook the mutton, I will use my instant pot, but you can also use a regular pressure cooker or do it on the stove. All alternative cooking instructions will be on headbangerskitchen.com. I add the mutton to the instant pot, I season it with a teaspoon of salt, then I add the pouch and I add 3 cups of water and I cover it now and pressure cook for 30 minutes, which is actually too much. 25 minutes would have been enough. After 30 minutes are done and the pressure has naturally released, I open up the pot and then fish out the mutton pieces. Then I fish out the pouch and I squeeze all the water out of it so we can extract all the flavor. And then finally I strain the stock into my Pyrex jar, and since I need exactly 4 cups of liquid and this is a little less, I just dilute it with a bit of water. And now my stock is ready to use. I get my Dutch oven on the stove and heat up 3 whole tablespoons of ghee. To that I add some cumin seeds, 2 bay leaves, 1 cinnamon stick, 1 black cardamom, 4 green cardamom, 4 cloves, 1 teaspoon of black peppercorns, and then just fry those till the spices are nice and aromatic. Then I add in about 200 grams, which is 2 to 3 small chopped onions. And now just fry those onions and we want to caramelize them. I have a little trick, and that is to cook them on a higher heat, and as the edges start to get brown, I add a bit of water which kind of washes over the onions, spreads the color and also deglazes the pan. Anyway, I add in a few pinches of hing and then a tablespoon of ginger garlic paste and continue to saute. Now I add some yogurt and mix it well and then season with salt and continue cooking. Now if I had not overcooked my mutton, I would have added that and cooked it with the onions a bit before adding the yogurt. Anyway, the rice goes in next, mix it well and then place the mutton pieces on top, season with a bit more salt, and then in goes the mutton stock. So it's 2 parts of stock to 1 part of rice, so for 2 cups of rice it's 4 cups of stock. And now I cover and cook on a low heat for about 10 to 15 minutes till the rice is fully cooked. Once it's done, I open it up and pour in about 2 tablespoons of ghee all over the rice. And then I fork things up and it's perfectly cooked. The mutton is tender and still moist. Anyway, I got to plate up that rice, put on the pieces of mutton and garnish with fresh mint leaves. And that's our Yakhni Pulao done and ready. As always, I got to give you that front camera shot. The mutton is so tender it's falling apart, and that's an absolutely delicious looking pulao. Oh yeah! Alright folks, it's time to taste the Yakhni Pulao, and I am drooling because this smells incredible, and it's meat and rice, my favorite food in the whole world. Now I gotta be honest, I did overcook the mutton a tad, and that's because you want to kind of have the mutton to still hold its shape after it's done pressure cooking, otherwise it might become shredded mutton, which we don't want. So maybe cook it 5 minutes less than I did and I think it'll be perfect. Anyway, let me dive right in. And yes, you can make this with chicken as well. You can make it with beef, any meat you like. And this is a good thing about mutton, goat meat in India, is that even when you overcook it, it's very forgiving because it's a very tough cut of meat. And this is just beautifully flavored. It's very like the way I like my food, not overly spiced and like overly hot, you know, in terms of like what we call in India tikha or mirchi. But this is perfect. I'm going to go and enjoy this now. And I hope you guys will try this recipe and let me know how it turns out. Until the next episode, cheers and keep cooking. And a big thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and on the YouTube channel memberships. You are all awesome. Thank you so much. And let me know in the comments what recipe you'd like me to teach you next.